lands on most points yet again.
I'm Tony Bahama here to provide your TNN Week 3 recap.
Hey, what's up, guys? Mickey the Mouth Nerd here.
I am Judge Daniel, presiding over this case.
What's up, Worlds 9? Joe here on behalf of the Waddlers. I'm here to congratulate the one, the only, the truest, the most historic franchise in the league, TNN. Congrats to your host, to Danny Football, to Judge Daniel, to the writers, the producers, everybody that has made the show possible, all the guests, all the picks. Congrats to everybody. Danny Football, your host, the TNN Network. Here's to 50, and here's to 500 more.
Hello, and welcome to the world's 9 best fantasy football players Week 1 League Preview, the best place to get breaking news and storylines from around the league. I'm your host, and this is what we have for you this week. But first, here's a word from this week's sponsor.
Hello, Grayson Maker, owner of the Texarkana Bandits here, and on behalf of the entire organization, we just want to say congrats TNN on 50 episodes, and we could not think of a better episode to make the exciting announcement that the Bandits merchandising department is officially live.
The following is a paid for advertisement. The views expressed here do not explicitly represent Danny Football or any of his affiliates. Are you looking at an empty surface, or perhaps a small hole? What if it was covered by a beautiful Texarkana Bandit sticker, only $1.99? A perfect holiday gift for that special someone. Act fast and use code FANOFSHOW and get it for just $1.50. I literally only have 9. Ever wonder what People Magazine's 12th sexiest man alive, Danny Football, drinks his coffee out of? Well, wonder no more. It's a Texarkana Bandits limited edition coffee mug with Texarkana red accents. Be the cool guy in the office with this mug, complete with the CB radio logo. Only $16.99 plus shipping and handling.
Danny Football hasn't actually drank from one yet, but he's going to get one for Christmas as a thank you for 50 episodes. But I better not find out that Commissioner Touche's dirty lips touch it. I'm going to break it into a million pieces and burn it to the ground. Offer not yet available to people in Canada because I don't believe it exists.
After last week's shocking loss to Team M. Vanek, TNN field reporters caught up with blood, sweat, and beers after the game.
All right, listen up, folks. Coach is on a very tight schedule here, so he's only got time for a couple questions. All right, here he comes.
Hey Coach, Mike Roch here from TNN News. Just wanted to check in. What happened this past weekend? I mean, Team Vanek? Really? How'd that happen?
You see this hat? Father of 3. I wear my heart on my sleeve. On any given Sunday, any team can win any game. And Team Vanek is a fine team, no doubt. But when the CEO of the Make-A-Wish Foundation comes to you and asks, hey, there's this team out there, Team Vanek. They're struggling. They need something. They need something so those guys just don't give up. You comply. That's what you do. You're there for one another. This is a brotherhood. Not everyone can make it to the world's 9 best fantasy football players. It was a grind to get here. If you don't think I'm going to reach a helping hand out to anyone who needs it, you got another thing coming. I had no words. I'd do it again. No doubt about it. If I had 10 opportunities to do it, I'd do it 11 times. If you think this is going to prevent us from getting to the playoffs, you got another thing coming. Yes, Kamara's on bye. Aaron Jones is on bye. Damn, I got a lot of dudes on bye. But hey, it doesn't matter. Jamar Chase is back. we're going to get up against Then He Waddled Away. And Then He Waddled Away will be waddling away from this matchup. And we will be waddling towards the playoff seeds. All right, one more question.
Hey, Coach, Dixon Butts here, TNN Media Print Edition. Any truth to the rumors of you and Daniel Stortz joining teams, joining forces? There's some talk amongst town around that.
Enough. There have been 0 conversations between one offensive coordinator, Daniel Stortz, of the historic franchise, undefeated, never lost, and the Blood, Sweat, and Beers management. There have been 0 discussions. Zero discussions about him joining our staff. No further questions.
Congratulations on 50 episodes, TNN. From everybody at UNL, we just want to say thank you for putting in the hard work week after week to keep all the viewers updated on the world's 9 best fantasy football players league. Your host, I love you. Danny Football, I am determined to beat you. And to all the producers behind the scenes, keep up the great work. And to all the viewers out there, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's the owner of almost but not entirely winless Team Sam Hinkie. I first and foremost just wanted to extend my congratulations to Danny Football, your host, and the whole production staff at TNN on your 50th episode. I've been a fan from the beginning, and it's been really cool to see your meteoric rise to stardom over the past couple of years. And I know I can always count on you for the hard-hitting journalism and the objective reporting about what's going on in the league. So just congratulations, and just so excited to see where the network goes from here. I also just wanted to give a brief recap on the year. It hasn't been the best year for Team Sam Hinkie. There's been a lot of ups and downs, mostly downs, going 1-12, soon to be probably 1-13. But I look forward to the day where I can reclaim my identity and where I feel comfortable showing my face again as owner in this league. When that may be, I have no idea. It could be next year, could be a couple years down the road, but we're just going to continue to trust the process and continue trucking on forward. So again, just congratulations to Danny Football and TNN on this really significant accomplishment. And I look forward to the day again where Team Sam Hinkie is a competitor in this league. Bye.
And now, here is Danny Football with his picks for Week 14. Hey, what's up, guys? World's 9 best fantasy football players expert, Danny Football here, back with another week of expert predictions. Last week was pretty good for me, going 3-3, bringing my total on the year up to a very nice 46-32. My guest Will also went 3-3 last week, tying the expert, which we all know goes to the expert. But it's a new week. There's not a new guest. We're doing something a little different for our 50th episode spectacular. I thought, 50 episodes in, this would be a great time for me to go back and really just kind of address all of the haters and losers out there that have been hating on me, the expert, for so long. So with that being said, let's get into it. In our first matchup, we have Team M. Vanek taking on the Mental Brick Walls. Team M. Vanek favored in this one, 57%. Really not much to say about this one. Matchup does not matter at all. Both these teams are locked in where they're at. But one of the things, I've done a little bit of work. I've done some numbers crunching, seeing how the experts stacked up against everybody, all my guest pickers throughout the years. Both of these teams, not great. The expert clearly beat both of them. Brett had a pretty good showing, first ever 6-0 week on the show. Still not enough to beat the expert over the course of 3 seasons. Team M. Vanek sitting right about 50%. Not great on their picks, but I will give them credit. They've beaten the expert twice during the regular season. But still, over the course of 3 years, not better than the expert. This one, real easy, brick walls. Oh, and congrats to Team M. Vanek getting their first win of the season. That's great. I really thought they were going to go for the perfect 0-13, but congrats to them, and they did what no one thought could be done. Next up, we have the SWAT team taking on Ham and Throw. SWAT team favored in this one at 61%. Great historic rivalry here. Two, just historic franchises. Well, at least one historic franchise. Ham and Throw, they've been down on their luck. Really not too much to say about this one either. It does not matter for either of these teams. SWAT in the playoffs, Ham and Throw out. Look, for Ham and Throw, their picks over the years have just been terrible. I think, they're trying to pick beef. They've got something going against me, the expert. But really, their picks have been terrible. 50%. They might as well just come on the show and flip a coin every week. It wouldn't be much worse. As far as the commissioner goes, we respect all teams. We love the commissioner. He's been a great friend to TNN, great guest to have on the show. Really great minds think alike. I think we've agreed on pretty much all of our picks over the years. Unfortunately for him, though, also only at 500 with his picks. So, not great. But when it comes to their teams, one of these teams clearly better than the other. I'm going with the SWAT team. Ham and Throw. Look, dude, your team just has no good wide receivers. Maybe they'll be good next year, but I just don't buy it. Next up, we have the Pumper McNichols taking on undefeated Never Lost. Pumper McNichols favored in this one at 79%. This is one teams differ drastically in their picks. Timmy has actually been a pretty solid guest picker over the years, coming in right at about 60%. Undefeated Never Lost, on the other hand, look, they're historic fans of the show. They provided great content over the years, but their picks have just been absolutely abysmal. Miguel and Danny, both towards the very bottom of the picking power rankings. On the other hand, though, Roberto Kraft, in his one guest appearance on the show, managed to go 5-1, currently holds the lead for the best guest picker percentage of all time. Who he's tied with for best guest picker percentage of all time is Nicole, recently hired on as the special teams coordinator for the Pumper McNichols. So there's some good, there's some bad for both of these teams, but really this matchup does not matter at all. Both these teams are locked in. One in the playoffs, one not. I'm going with the Pumper McNichols in this one. Moving on, we have the Texarkana Bandits taking on Team Big Chungus 22. Bandits favored in this one at 57%. This is one where, look, my track record on these teams, one of them, I've got a lot to say about. The other one, not too much to say about. Will and I, we've reconciled our differences over the years. He's been a pretty average guest picker, kind of right in the middle of the pack. Grace, on the other hand, comes in slightly better, right at about 55.5%. Look, I'm actually for the 50th show, I'm gonna let you all in on a little secret. It's something that maybe, just maybe, you would have picked up on if you're a very intense, dedicated fan of the show for the past 3 years. But I want to make it very explicit, very clear here. I, Danny Football, am high on the Bandits. Look, I know I've been dropping hints throughout the years. Some of you've seen the breadcrumbs, the little trail there. I just want to come out and say it. I'm high on the Bandits. I think they've got some real players on their team. They can definitely make a run this year. They're a better picker than the Chunguses, and I'm going to pick them in this one. Moving on, we have Luck of the Irish taking on Bart Harley, Jarvis Landry. Both of these teams are sitting right at 50% right now. True toss-up, and I think that's really appropriate for this matchup. This is essentially a win and in for both of these teams. If they lose, Nooch certainly will be out. Tom, very, very likely will be out of the playoffs. So this is, a little playoff play-in game here, starting the playoffs a week early, which is always very fun. Both kind of middle-of-the-pack pickers. They both have a record of 10-8 over the last 3 years. Neither of them have ever beaten the expert, putting them in a very unique category with the commissioner himself and Danny Storts as the only people to have never beaten the expert after more than one appearance. Neither of these teams have impressed me when they come in and make picks with me. Neither of these teams have really impressed me on the field this year. I think there's a very clear reason that both of them are sitting here in this playoff elimination game. I really don't know what's going to happen here. Tom's team, they've really surprised me. They're in the survivor pool, so they've got a lot to play for this week. They want to put up a good game. Nooch's team gone all in. If they miss the playoffs, it's going to be catastrophic for them. I think this one leans towards the Irish. Finally, we have our marquee matchup of the week. Another essentially playoff play-in game. We have Blood, Sweat, and Beers taking on Then He Waddle Away. Blood, Sweat, and Beers favored in this one at 54%. These teams are just vastly different when it comes to their picking. Joe, owner of Then He Waddle Away, has had the best picking performance of any person who has been on the show for 3 years. He's currently sitting at 77% picks correct. So while his picking style may be unconventional, it certainly gets results. So, look, I may need to reanalyze my thought process as an expert, see what's going on here. But someone who definitely does not make me reconsider my thought process as an expert is Jacob. He's just been absolutely bottom feeder when it comes to picks. Him and Danny Storts are tied for the worst over the course of 3 years, going 7 and 11 with their picks, 38%. There's really not much redeeming quality when it comes to Jacob and his picks, and I think that's going to transfer over onto the field this week. His team, they're certainly going to be shocked after dropping one to Team Mvanek last week. As some may remember, I told Jacob on the show last week.
And honestly, if Blood, Sweat, and Beers loses this week, I think they should bench all of their starters next week because they do not deserve to be in the playoffs.
It happened. So, look, Jacob, if you're watching, I think it's time to bench everybody. Let Joe into the playoffs. Focus on the rebuild. Your team doesn't have a chance this year. And if they win the whole thing, I'll be the first one to apologize because there's no way that's going to happen. That being said, though, Waddle team, way down. I really hate where they are coming into this one. A lot of buys, a lot of injuries. That being said, though, Joe, superior picker, and I'm going to pick the Waddlers in this one. Well, everyone, that's all we've got for you this week. It's been a blast. Very weird to have no guest picker with me this week, but thank you all for tuning in for 50 episodes. It's been very great to be able to beat you all handily week over week. And you know what? I'm coming for my spot at the top of the picker power rankings. The expert, a lot of people give me a hard time, say my job's easy. All I'm going to say is there's only 4 people who have ranked ahead of me in picks so far. Editors throw the power rankings up, complete power rankings, and only 2 of those people have picked more than once. So I'm coming for the top spot. It's been a great year. I'm looking forward to the playoffs. 50 episodes has been fantastic. I've loved doing this. Thank you, TNN. And here's to another 50.
I know, we're like, yes. Right?
Ready, fight!
7. Didn't make it. 7. Oh my God! Finish it.
7. A new record.
Hey TNN viewers, Brett checking in here, owner of the Mental Brick Walls, champions of the Turtle Squad division. I just want to congratulate TNN on a 50th episode. Here's to the next 50. And also welcome Team Sam Hinkie to the division that I will be heading up next year, named appropriately as the Stinky Mac division. Shout out Visconti. We're really looking forward to seeing how Team Sam Hinkie builds their team over the next 3 years in our new 3-division format. Back to you.
And now, with an in-depth look to the future of the league, including the playoffs, TNN sends it out to special correspondent.
Hey guys, Miguel Romanella here, defensive coordinator of the historic franchise Undefeated Never Lost, and also now head league statistician, as you will see soon. I thought it'd be interesting to give a layout of the playoff picture, the draft picture going into this last week so you can follow along. I will be reading off a teleprompter, much like Danny Football usually does, but I'm not a hack like he is, just letting you guys know. Just saying that this is all assuming that Will not make the playoffs. Mathematically, he is still in, but just to give you an idea of what would have to happen for him to actually make it, he would have to, there's only one scenario in which he would be able to make it, which is he would have to beat Grayson, Nooch would have to beat Tom, fair enough, but then he would also have to beat Nooch, Tom, and the loser of the Jacob-Joe matchup in points for over the season to get in. And that would entail outscoring Nooch this week by 230 points. So it's not going to happen. So this is all assuming that. Starting with Tom. Tom is pretty simple. He only has one scenario to get in. He would have to win. If he wins, he's in. If he loses, he's out. Moving on to Jacob. Jacob has 2 scenarios in which he could get in. If he wins, he is in. The second scenario is if he loses, Nooch would have to win, but he would also have to outscore Nooch this week by 25 points. Joe is similar to Jacob. Let's talk about Joe for a second. He has 2 scenarios to get in. If he wins, he's in. If he loses, he would need Nooch to win. He would have to outscore Nooch by 108 points, so it's not really happening. Jacob is kind of like Tom. If he wins, he's in. If he loses, he's out. Nooch is the really tricky one. Nooch
Baby, you smart.
Has to win. If
You
he loses,
very
he's out,
smart.
but he has to win. And then, like I said, he has to beat the loser of the Jacob-Joe matchup in points for. Like I said, he's ahead of Joe by 108 points. So if Joe loses and he wins, he's virtually in. But if he wins, he still has to beat Jacob by 25 points if Jacob wins as well. The seeding picture is pretty simple. Brett is guaranteed the first seed and a first round bye as the winner of the Turtle Squad division and as the best record in the league. Timmy has the second seed locked up. And he has a first round bye unless he loses to Undefeated Never Lost and Tooch, and is outscored by Tooch by like 90 points. So it's pretty much going to be Brett Timmy. Nothing going on with the seeding there. Moving on to the draft picture. 101, Vanek, Bijan Robinson. Number 2 is going to be Undefeated Never Lost. 3 and 4 are pretty much between Will and Visconti, which is interesting. They have a difference of max points for. Will is currently 32 points ahead of Visconti in max points for. But interestingly, neither of them have their 2023 first round picks. So what they're actually fighting for is to give away a less bad pick, a less good pick. So they're actually trying to have worse picks and so they're trying to outscore each other as well. And Will is currently winning that by having 32 more max points for than Visconti. The 105, 106 are pretty tricky because of the playoff picture, but essentially if Joe doesn't make it, he will have the 105. If Jacob doesn't make it, he will have the 106. Tom and Nooch, it's a whole mess, but in a weird way, they are both fighting for a playoff spot, and they're also both fighting for a 105 spot, which is kind of strange. Just a little added on thing, kind of interesting that Nooch, I don't think I've ever seen a team in the regular season have so much on the line in 1 week.
Oh my God!
Has obviously a chance to make the playoffs, but also he made a trade, the big Najee, JT, Eckler, Dalvin Cook, Pitts trade. He made that trade, and I know this, assuming that he would probably move up 6-7 spots in the draft, probably from like the 110 or 111, which is where his pick would be, because he's like in a win now team, to probably like the 103, right, which is Visconti's pick. There's a chance right now that all this is a move from like the 1-6 to the 1-4. And he doesn't have his 2024 pick. He has a win now team. If he loses Next, if he loses this week's matchup, his team's pretty much in the dirt for the next 3-4 years, is my opinion. Pretty big. That's the draft picture. Obviously, the later part of the draft is decided in the playoffs. Last thing, division draft. Like I said, Brett has the guaranteed first pick because he's the winner of the regular season already. Second and third picks, unless Tooch goes insane, are a fight between Timmy and Grayson, who are both 9-4, I believe. If they both win, or if one team wins and the other team loses, obviously the team that wins is going to have the second pick and the team that loses the third pick. If they both win or if they both lose, Timmy is currently leading Grayson by 6.5 points. And they're playing undefeated, never lost, and Big Chungus. So there's a high chance of them both winning. So they're actually more playing each other than they're playing the other teams that they're actually playing this week, which is pretty interesting. So Timmy has a lead, like I said, of 6.5 points. This will decide the second and third picks in the division draft.
What the dog doing?
This week, let me hit y'all with a little
I said right foot creep, oh, walking with that heater. Look around, stay low, make sure they don't see you.
catch you in the playoffs next year.
Are you sure about that?
That's all we have for you this time. Be sure to tune in next week to see how things shook out. I'm your host, and this has been TNN.
What's up, everyone? Mike Visconti here, proud owner of Team Ham and Throw. Here to help celebrate TNN's 50th episode. Crazy how long it's gone, and only getting better each year. So looking forward to the future and here to celebrate the past. So obviously, while I have you guys, I thought I'd take the moment to talk about Team Ham and Throw and get rid of all those lies that Tooch consistently spews each week about my team. So obviously, as you guys know, it's been a not ideal season for Team Ham and Throw. We have had a lot of injuries. We made some trades that, got rid of some of our better contributors, but hopefully taking in some guys that are going to contribute more in the future, which is the goal of the team as we look forward. It's tough to compete when your 5 best wide receivers are hurt the large majority of the year. And I think I get a lot of negative comments from Tooch about my wide receivers, but I like to point out that if you just look at my IR, you realize that next year we're getting a lot of receivers that hopefully will be healthy and hopefully be contributing. Hopefully led by Jamison Williams, who is now healthy, and I think that he has a very high ceiling, and I hope to see some explosiveness out of him to end this year. Other than that, I'm happy with where we're at. We obviously have to have a good draft, maybe make some trades in the offseason and try to mix things around. I think quarterback's going to be the biggest issue for us going into next year, and we'll see, how we can address that. I like to point out that obviously that big trade earlier in the year when I gave away my first-round pick to Nooch, everyone consistently was like, why would you give away a late first-round pick? And what I say to those people right now is, look at the standings. I'm not saying I'm in a good spot, but the person on the other side of that trade that was supposed to have the late first-round pick, obviously it's not over yet, but I'm sure he's wishing that he didn't make that trade right now because he is not looking too hot, and he may have put his team back multiple years. So I have not won the trade yet. Obviously, that's TBD, but if things go as currently they are going, he will have lost that trade very quickly. So, maybe we only end up falling back 2 picks in the draft, and I would say anyone looking back at that would say Ham and Throw got a huge win out of that. But, I don't want to jinx it. There's still a week left. A lot can happen, but Ham and Throw obviously threw in the towel a few weeks ago. We're happy with where we're at. We're going to try to finish the season strong, look at our future, and go from there. And obviously root for the teams in our best interest and root against the teams that are also in our best interest to lose. So thank you guys for everything. 3 years of TNN in the past and hopefully many more to come.
Happy 50th show, everyone. Danny Football, congrats on the milestone, brother. Commissioner, you're still soft. Nerf sacks already, man. Yeah, Big Chungus forever. Peace.
Tom here again, owner, manager, coach of Luck of the Irish. Once again, just calling out to TNN to say thank you for allowing me on a more personal level to, stay close and have a great reason to stay connected with some of my favorite people in the world. And I think this league has been great for all of us as the world's 9 best friends. And it's kind of immeasurable how much TNN has, brought us more together and kept us all close. Now, like 2.5 years after we no longer spend every day together as a league. So just wanted to reach out again to say I'm really thankful for that, especially being so far away from the other owners and managers. It really means a lot to be able to watch you guys laugh and have fun and make picks every week and sending commentary and really just feel like I'm still around you. So thanks for that to TNN, to Danny Football, to your host. And I look forward to more of that.